Hey guys, a video for our Buying a House in Japan playlist. Some of you are familiar with this little building at the back of the old farmhouse. Usually use it when guests come to stay, so it stays empty most of the time. But it's starting to look a little bit ratty. It gets sun pretty much all day. Gets punished by the weather fairly severely. These storm shutters, we've got them all around the main house, but we never use them. But in this case, we use them just to protect the inside, because the inside has wood floors and tatami, so we leave the storm shutters closed to protect the inside so it doesn't get beaten by the sun. But of course the result of that is those storm shutters have been pretty heavily beaten for the last 10 years, so don't have the materials we need. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. In this case, for this job, we need some materials, so off to the home center, some rollers. So another part of this mission is to get rid of that paint. Some of you are familiar with the fact that we bought the wrong paint. The unskilled painter came to this home center and bought the wrong paint. One of those cans looked like the one we always buy, and it was just a bit different. Instead of being the water-based, it was the oil-based. So we want to get rid of that, and we can't get rid of it in the spray gun. So this job, we won't be using a spray gun. We'll be using rollers and brushes. So it's a good opportunity to get rid of it. That's just picking up some sealer, as you'll see shortly. We need some sealer because we're going to use some unsealed wood. Yeah, should get a helmet. Clown. The unskilled clown in the home center. We actually made a video a long time ago showing one of these home centers in more detail if you're interested in such a thing. So swap trolleys now, get rid of that shopping cart and get this thing that they have for moving bigger things. We need some sheets of ply. 4mm should do for some of it, for those storm shutters, and 5mm for another part of the job. Need a tape measure. The sizes marked on the sheets are actually Japanese measurements, and all the measurements that the unskilled guy took at the farmhouse were all centimeters, so needed a tape measure. So in a home center, it's not hard to find a tape measure, is it? Went off and got a tape measure, brought that back. But we've actually got 6 or 7 tape measures that the old guy had left at the farmhouse when we bought it. We found tape measures all over the place, so we just borrowed that one at the home center and then put it back because we don't need to buy another one. Got more than enough of those. So it's actually picking up some tin for the next job. There's another job coming up after this one. There's always jobs coming up after every job. That's the joy of owning an old house. The jobs never end, but we sort of know what the next job's going to be. So while we're here, we also need a truck because these things are too big for the little K car. So it was an opportunity to get some other bigger things as well at the same time and transport them back to the house. So obviously usually things like cans of paint and stuff like that you can throw in the car, but big sheets of ply and big sheets of roofing tin are too big for the little K car. So fortunately, Kynes have a thing where they will lend you a truck. All you got to do is show them your receipt for what you've bought and they will loan you a truck for free. So a little K truck or a larger 1-ton truck, depending on how much stuff you've got. Fill out a form, show them your driver's license, they give you the keys, off you go. Little K truck in this case is just big enough. Very decent of them, isn't it? So throw your stuff, leave your car in their car park, take the stuff back to your place, bring their truck back, off you go. How's this for service? Just finished putting everything in the truck. Along comes the employee. Can I take the trolley for you? Yeah, thank you very much. Very civilised. Squeeze the big unskilled labourer into a tiny little truck. Bye-bye there. Thanks for coming. Alright, so measured up those storm shutters and found that they're all a little bit different. Two of them were the same, pretty much, and the other two are different. So I actually had to measure each one individually and number the sheets for each one, 1 to 4, because there's 4 of them. So that was the first job, to cut up the ply to the right size. Always halfway through these jobs you think of a different way you could have done it. That always happens. That happened this time too. I was like, oh, I could have done this a bit differently. But committed by now. Anyone out there ever cut plywood lengthways? That's lots of fun. So this one over here too is dodgy. So they had to go. So for that one, just took that piece off and clamped it to another piece of ply, 5mm ply, 5.5mm ply, and just traced around it basically, and then cut it out so it'd be the same, because it wasn't a rectangle, it was a bit funny shape. So that was an easy way to do that. So it's very difficult to get storm shutters out. There's only 2 ways. One is to take that track off, pull the nails out of the track at the bottom, and they'll let you get them out. And the other one is to open up that box there to the left. Because see how tightly it slides in there? It's a really good system, but it's designed that it's all tight, so in a strong wind it won't blow out and doesn't shake around too much. So it's all really tight. So you've got to reach in through this little hatch inside the room to slide each door across as you slide each door into the box. So see how tight the fitting is? And then it's just made to just fit. So it sits in at the top and sits in at the bottom, and you can't pull them off. So most sliding doors, like the glass ones there, you can just lift them up and pull out the bottom and off it comes, but couldn't do it. Got one off. So needed to get one off, because the one that furthest to the left, when you pull them all across, the one furthest to the left, a few centimetres of it sit inside the box, right? Because they don't want a gap. So bottom line was, had to take one off and managed to get one of them off, which left just these 3, and they wouldn't come off. The only way was to take that track off the bottom. Done that before. We've done that before. When the wheels are broken and they're not, things aren't sliding, that's the only way to get them off, is to take the track off. In this case, they're sliding pretty nicely, so no, look, it's not worth it. Just leave these 3 in place. Don't take the track off. Got to watch these jobs, they get out of hand. So here's the one that was taken off. Lay down some glue, clamp it, and we'll put some weight on it. Measure where there's a little strip goes across, or 5 little strips go across. Got to make sure the nail goes in there. Boom, boom, boom. Bit of an angle. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, the top, it turned out at the top, the little piece of wood behind it was a special groove thing. So I actually had to put a piece in there. Back to Cairns for some more wood. These jobs always get out of hand. You think at the start, oh, I could probably knock this over in a day. Do this, boom, 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 paint it, yeah, a day or 2. See, there's the piece missing at the top. Had to put one in there. There it goes. Wasn't missing, it's just the way it was made. It didn't have one up there to support the top. It was sort of went into a groove, which was no good to us in this case, so we needed to put a piece up there. See, these jobs always start off, oh, I could knock this over in a day or 2, and 4 days later, the work just sort of, oh yeah, we better do this, oh, that's broken too, oh, I better change that, and oh, that needs a bit more wood there, and so time for these ones. Exactly the same thing, just vertical instead of horizontal, basically. Boom, boom, boom. Always hard to get the nail setting just right for the nail gun. It either pushes them in too far or doesn't push them in far enough and the heads stick up a bit and you have to tap them down with a what do you call it, nail punch. And ply, you don't want it to go in too deep because it can disappear right into the ply and give you no support at all. So just keep adjusting it and faffing with it. That was last of the warm days that day too. You can see the unskilled fat man there is wearing short sleeves. That was the last day of that. The temperature changes really quickly in Japan. Suddenly got cold, the wind got cold. But quite pleasant this time of year to be out doing jobs like that. So that box too that the shutters go into, that was dodgy as well. So another 5.5 mil. So I could use thicker mil for that one and for the one off to the right, but couldn't use thicker stuff for the shutters because there just wasn't the room for it. That was tricky too, where the support was on the inside, had to sort of feel for it. Oh, this is the end of that horrible paint. And started to roll it out here, and there was chunky bits in it. There was chunky bits all through it. I was like, what the heck? So no idea why. It's just gone all chunky. Hate that paint. Geez, that was a mistake. So, okay, that's not working. It's just chunky bits all over the place, lumpy bits. So I ended up putting that paint through a strainer. And then the strainer was no good, because once you put that stuff through something, the only way to clean it's with turpentine, isn't it? Or thinner, paint thinner. Horrible shit it was. So this particular day when this painting was going on, emptied the bottle that the paint was in into the roller tray and into a can and threw the bottle away, which committed the unskilled painter then to using it all. So I actually went hard all day with the brown paint, painting everything you can see here, plus a couple of other places that needed it as well, just to get rid of the stuff. Because it's just horrible, you know. Once you get the rollers, hard to clean a roller that's got that stuff on it. What do? What, clean it in turpentine or thinner? Horrible. And then how do you wash the turpentine out or the thinner? It's horrible. Brushes, rollers, trays, hands, random places where you happen to drop a bit or splash a bit or flick a bit. Just horrible stuff. When you compare it what it's like working with water-based stuff where everything's so easy to clean. So anyway, so I just ran around with a brush at the end there just to get the tricky bits that couldn't be got with the roller. Put that number 2 back in. Back goes number 2. You can see the weather's got cooler already. Look at that. That's the next day. Getting cooler. So right, they're happy, and now it's time for the white. So the brown paint's gone. That's the end of that brown paint. So we're going to be buying a big can of the water-based stuff and get back on the spray gun. That was a mistake. Make a mistake like that once, you don't make it again, do you? So water-based white paint. A pleasure to work with it was. Out in the sun. Fabulous. Let's tidy it up a bit. And there you go. Oh, before that brown paint went on, there was seal up. That's the before shot, guys. Put a sealer on before the brown paint too, which we didn't do last time, so that should make a big difference as well. There you go. Looks a bit better, doesn't it? Most importantly, it's going to last better. It's going to be better preserved because it was starting to get a bit dodgy. So that should go. The first time we did it was 10 years ago. So that was without a sealer. This time we did it with a sealer. So we should be getting more than 10 years out of it this time. All going well. So time to move on to the next job now. Anyway, there it was. More videos coming soon.